Hi guys, so back again, and this one is actually just kind of a distance notion, I guess you could say. Something that came up in the conversation point of when to use this work, when to use an Unter how. But I do feel it's relevant into understanding for some drills that are coming up, and because they do involve this work, or they involve the Unter, or they involve certain objects that make this come into play, if that makes sense. So I do think that this is kind of an important understanding to have. Okay, so one of the things to go over is when do I want to Unter and when do I want to Zwerch when fighting my opponents, right? So on the notions that I like to think about, if I am truly in Zwerchs, and if we both make a passing step to each other and we're going to meet in that middle-to-middle bind, I'm going to want the true edge Unter, because it's going to cause that boom, and then now I can work from any action after. Also, because your arms are extended out, you have range, right? If we are much more to where if he makes a passing step and I make a passing step, and we are both going to end up and be strong as shit on each other, it's great. Or if he makes a passing step and I don't even have to do shit and his sword's going to end up right here, well then perhaps his work is a better option, right? Because it's all about changing ranges. It also comes to be in some degrees for ox, right? So I cut into this ox and now I can have the reach to do everything. If you cut into this ox, it's much more to run off and then cut around, right? And what I mean by those is long edge up ox or thumb grip ox, right? Either one. You don't want to parry with this because it's going to force it down. So you can strike from here, you can deal with it all day. So I like to think about this in a range factor of my distance to them. Not necessarily always theirs, but what can I do? If I make the passing step and get to them, am I going to hit in the middle where I actually have work, or to be just enough out where this be a threat and I can continue over? Great. If not, you know, well, if that's not going to necessarily work, then why throw the Unter when I can throw this work and get the same measure, and now I possibly can thrust them. It also comes to be where you see this in the text, you know. So, Absetzen, right? We have various people's interpretations and discussion points on it, depending on what source you go to. None of it's necessarily wrong. It's all about distance. Okay? Yeah, Meyer will be sitting here. The thrust of the monkey over the shoulder, as Ted Elsner likes to call it, and I always appreciate Ted and them's view on this, right? And then you wind the long edge and you thrust in. Okay? Others, you're here, you wind, you connect, right? Make sure you have that bind first, wind up over, and get to where you end the thumb grip false edge. So, I like to think of it, again, it's distance, right? Because I find half the time for effectiveness, I can get here and just rotate just to the side, and I have enough to stab them. Also structured out. So, you know, Absetzen in some of the earlier sources and discussion points. I'm here. They're cutting in. They're trying to cleave me in the head. I'm going to get the bind. Oh, they're still stepping. Thus, this makes sense. We see it in I want to say it was Danzig's Zornhaus, right? He has the one. And there's the damn fireworks early. Where he strikes in, right? Wind the long edge thrust in, so there's a reach. So he's talked about doing the Zornhau, no step, boom, taking the line, wind the edge, and thrust. He has another one where you both have step. If you have both come into the Zornhaus, oh, now we're in the middle, like we're more close to the strongs. Then you wind up here because you have the range, and you stab him. So in essence, it's kind of no different when you're throwing a strike from out of measure, or throwing a strike from Zwerchs coming in. It's like, what can I get here? Am I getting the middle where I can have work? Well, long edge comes in. Or am I going to be a lot closer, and this is going to be better? So, some ideas on it. It's also why to me, you know, Meyer has you start here, drop in with the sturts to get you into, now you have that threat, now you can work everything you want, right? So, a little bit of notions on that. So, you know, you want to ever check your ranges, get your Pell, right? Yeah, that's a good long edge distance. And if I just work from here, right? So this is extended, work, extended, work, and you can see a visual key of difference. So that kind of tells you a bit of your range differences. Like I said, a little bit more of a discussion on this one, but I hope it helps.